Hello, welcome to class. Our topic today is Swimming Fish with Sprite Lab. This lesson is designed to introduce you to the core vocabulary of Sprite Lab. We're going to be learning how to create new sprites, assign them costumes and behaviors. And you are going to learn how to define sprites as a character or object seen on a screen. Now listen carefully to a brief overview on this lesson.
This is Sprite Lab, a place where you can build imaginative and fun apps and other useful programs. This is a sprite. A sprite is something you can interact with, like a character in a game or an object in a scene. With Sprite Lab, you can change different aspects of a sprite, like its costume, location, and color. You can also change how a sprite behaves on the screen. Sprites can also interact with you or each other. You can create a dance party, a virtual pet, or an entire world of creatures that do whatever you tell them to. Now you can spend some time exploring Sprite Lab and see where your imagination leads you.
It's time to dig into some fun features of Sprite Lab. The first thing to do is to set up a sprite. To add a sprite, you can use the Make a New Sprite block. This block lets you give your sprite a costume and a location. If you want to change the sprite's location, you can click the pin in the location block and then click where you want it to go. You can change the size of your sprites too. To make a sprite smaller, you can use the Set Size block and then type in a number that is less than 100. If you have 2 or more sprites with the same costume, this will change all of them at once. Now let's get the sprite moving by using a behavior. You can start by giving the sprite the spinning right behavior. Once the behavior begins, it will run over and over again forever, or until you tell it to stop. And that's all there is to it. Now it is your turn.
Welcome back. I'm sure you know what a sprite is now. Let's look at the definition of a Sprite Lab. A Sprite Lab is a block-based programming environment where you can make simple animations and games with objects and characters that interact with each other. I'm sure you can define a Sprite Lab. Now let's quickly take a look at what a sprite is. A sprite is a graphic on the screen with a location, size, and appearance. A sprite is a graphic on the screen with a location, size, and appearance. You can also refer it to an object which can be controlled by a programmer. An object on the screen which can be controlled by a programmer. Okay, now let's take a look at what behavior is. A behavior is an action that a sprite performs continuously until it is told to stop. The action that a sprite displays on the Sprite Lab continuously until it is told to stop is referred to as behavior. Okay, now let's move over to the Code Studio and get some programming puzzle done. Now let's take a look at the first puzzle here. It says, look closely at the code below. What will happen after you click run? Now looking closely at our program, the block of code, you discover the behavior says, make a new sprite. Then the last one says, begin what? Tumbling. So we are from the code below, we are going to click on the option which says or explains the code below. That's letter C. The tumbling will begin tumbling. Okay, so I'm going to click on letter C. What's going to happen after I click run? The sprite on the screen, which is the tumbleweed, will keep tumbling. And let's do that and let's see what happens. Beautiful. Okay, now we are going to look at the next puzzle. Always read your instructions before you go ahead with the programming puzzle. Always read your instructions. It helps you to know what to do. Now let's look at the instruction on this. Let's make a fish tank. Change the tumbleweed to any fish by clicking on the block we are given in the instruction area, and also be sure to update the sprite costume in Sprite Begin. That is, when you, after changing the sprite, you should also update the same kind of sprite in the behavior block which says Sprite Begins. You should change it, update the same sprite in the other sprite block. So let's quickly get to work. Let's select, we are going to change the tumbleweed to a fish. So we're going to select any kind of fish of your choice, as you can see. Then we are still going to update the same kind of fish in the block just by the side of the behavior block which says Sprite Begins. Tumbling, let's select the same kind of fish there. And now when you click run, you're going to see what happens. Yeah, the fish begins tumbling. This is lovely. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next level. Okay, now this is puzzle 4. Now it says the fish is getting dizzy. Change the fish behavior so that it swims left and right. Now we are going to use the behavior block. Taking a look at the toolbox area on the left side. We are going to drag the block for the behavior of the fish to swim left and right. We're going to drag it to the workspace area. We're asked to change the behavior of the fish so it swims left and right. And let's get that done. Okay, as you can see, we'll have the behavior of the fish swimming left and right after clicking run. I'm sure you can see that. Lovely, interesting. Okay, I'm going to leave you to complete the rest puzzles. I'm sure you had fun learning. I hope to see you in my next lesson. Have a fun-filled day ahead. Bye.